Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Metabolism and Menopause podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I am your host and CEO of Vitality OET. We are a women's health, nutrition, and fitness company that focuses predominantly on women's hormones, particularly as they start going through perimenopause and onwards. We know that so many women struggle with so many symptoms during this time in their life, whether that be hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, brain fog, low libido, hair thinning, bloating, and of course, belly fat that seems to have come on out of absolutely nowhere, even though you've changed nothing. So you go back to trying to cut your calories, cutting your carbs, doing cardio, things that used to work before, but now they just don't seem to be working. And you're trying harder, you're pushing yourself harder, yet seeing no results, or you might even start going backwards. So we know now that your body is inherently different than what it was like prior to these hormonal changes. So our mission is to teach women about how their bodies change during this period of their life so they can finally reach their health and fitness goals, feel at home in your body again, live a life full of vitality, and really understand how to take care of this new body of yours. So today I have a super fun topic that I wanted to chat about, which is how what we think can actually cause hormonal imbalances, which I know sounds crazy, but it is so true. Our mindset and how we think is so incredibly powerful. So your mindset and the way that you think really determines a lot about your success with everything, including your relationship with food, your internal health, and your hormone regulation as well. That's right. The way that we think can actually determine or contribute to our hormonal imbalances. So the particular beliefs that you hold true around food, nutrition, health, yourself, and even fat loss are all important aspects to explore while you're on your menopause fat loss journey. And all coaching programs that we personally have really tackle the foundations of how your brain makes you think and act around your food, for your health and yourself, because this plays an important role on how the body actually functions on an entire physiological level. So I'm going to try and simplify things for you guys. So I don't want to get super sciencey. I want you to understand this, have it resonate so you can make the right changes. So let's hop right into it. So did you know that managing your thoughts is actually the first step to hormonal harmony? The first thing we need to touch on is something called a fixed mindset. And this is something Coach Amy and I talked about on a previous podcast. But we can also think about this more as a fixed mindset is your negative mindset. A fixed mindset is a thought pattern that centers around the belief that our abilities are determined by how we were born and they are fixed. They cannot change. So this means that you believe that you can't change to increase your success. This also includes things like negative self-talk, which stems from a fixed mindset. I am the way I am, and I hate myself for it. I can't change. So for example, let's say you have a family history of thyroid issues. And a fixed mindset would think that because your mom has Hashimoto's, that there is nothing you can do to not have Hashimoto's. A negative mindset from that will include negative self-talk regarding your inability to function properly or how hard it is to achieve anything in your life, which is feeling better or weight loss or anything like that. So fixed and negative mindsets live in the past. They're not future thinking. It's I used to feel like this and have a negative association with the future. So I'll never achieve those goals, or 2 years is way too far away. You're always thinking about your past experiences and how this is just going to keep repeating itself. Negative self-talk sits under the umbrella of a fixed mindset because it focuses on the things you feel you cannot change and do not like about yourself or the world around you. The more negative of a thinker you are, so you're pessimistic, maybe you complain a lot, maybe you complain about others, you complain about yourself, maybe you focus on hating yourself, you're always focused on things that you're not. I'm not thin enough, I'm not motivated enough, I'm not doing enough exercise, or you always think that the world is out to get you or the world hasn't been fair to you. So the more that you do those things, the more likely you are to have health issues as you age. So why is that? Turns out that negative thinking actually increases serum cortisol levels in the body. Dun, dun, dun. Cortisol and stress. We're talking about it again. Negative thinking is a stress response conductor. It starts that fight or flight. It gets those cortisol levels up just by thinking negatively. So remember that cortisol is that wonderful puppeteer master to all of the other hormones that fall below it. So this is going to affect your sex hormones. It's going to affect your thyroid. It's going to affect your gut health, your liver, your insulin or like blood sugar control. It's going to control literally everything in your body. So that's going to also affect things like testosterone, androgens, progesterone, estrogen, all these things that can contribute to hormonal imbalances. So here's a news flash that nobody wants to hear, and I'm sorry, but I gotta give it to you. I always feel like the beginning of these podcasts are just filled with bad news, so I will give you positive things afterwards. But here's what you don't want to hear, but I have to tell you. Anxiety and worry are also forms of negative thinking. So while you may not think that you're negative or a fixed mindset thinker, you could actually be a little bit more than you realize if you're highly anxious and you're worrying all the time. So for example, the more worried you are about perimenopause and the more hyper-focused you are on your weight loss journey or how your body is working against you or how you're not at your goals yet, the worse off that you're going to be during the entire experience, and the more anxious you're going to be and the more worrying that you're doing can actually manifest symptoms due to a heightened stress response, leading to further imbalances and slowing down your progress as well. And that sucks to hear. So this is why, like ourselves personally in our one-to-one coaching, we do a whole educational piece on mindset and working through those things with you first, because it is the key puzzle to long-term success and making sure that our hormones stay good, because we can help you through these things. But if you keep worrying all the time, being anxious all the time, and not really addressing these things, it's going to be really hard to achieve that hormonal harmony because you're just in a stress state, self-induced. So fixed mindset, again, is things like all or nothing thinking, the inability to hear feedback without feeling like threatened or attacked, resistance toward challenges and learning something new, feelings of being threatened by other people's success. So you look at them and you're just like so upset because you're not there yet you don't know that what their journey has looked like. A history of quitting, a belief that one is incapable so that you can't do it, the belief that you are defined by your abilities, not that can't change, anxious or worrying in certain situations, or thinking about situations that haven't even presented themselves yet and you're already worrying about them. That's a very common one. Negative self-talk or negative body image, low self-confidence, a victim mentality or the world isn't fair or the world is against me, and pessimism for the future. So you're not optimistic. You don't think things are going to work. Just you're negative about everything coming forward. So now let's talk about the opposite direction, the sunny side of the rainbow. The growth mindset is a thought pattern that centers around the belief that abilities are determined by how you work on them, rather than what you are born with. So it's a dynamic thought pattern versus a static thought pattern, which would be more of a fixed mindset. So positive thinking and a growth mindset have been statistically proven to help stabilize cortisol levels, as well as your insulin and your estrogen. Well, let me say that again. A positive mindset and growth mindset have been scientifically proven to stabilize cortisol, insulin, and estrogen levels. So this means that our thoughts and our mindset can actually contribute a quite important role into how our hormones end up balancing themselves out. So typically people who have a more growth mindset will spend more time being successful, developing new habits, and being open to change than someone with a fixed mindset belief. They'll also practice significantly less negative self-talk. They'll utilize more body neutrality or positive self-talk, which helps us elicit more happy hormones instead of stress hormones in our brain, which is a win-win all the way around. So some examples of our growth mindset are going to be a love of learning from failures, from others, from feedback. We take every opportunity to learn and improve ourselves. Being inspired by others and their success. So instead of being jealous or feeling threatened, you're like, oh man, if they can do it, I can do it. I can't wait till I get there. This journey's been so great so far. A deep desire and belief that one can improve and succeed. a belief that talent is not fixed traits and that you can develop the skills to help you achieve them. A willingness to seek challenges. That's huge. You're not just going to turn around and quit. You'll have continued perseverance. A belief that attitude and effort will determine everything for you. Positive self-talk or body neutrality with things that you might want to change as opposed to just focusing on the negative and being really hard on yourself. Focusing on positive relationships, less complaining, more appreciation and gratitude, and optimism for the future. Like you're genuinely excited and think things are going to be great. So growth mindset will embrace the journey of this as like an opportunity for experimentation, some brainstorming, learning new skills, new ways of coping, and working with your body as opposed to just wanting weight loss and opposed to just fixing things right now. It took you a long time to get to where you are. It took a lot of things to contribute to this hormonal imbalance that you might be dealing with, and it's going to take time. And if you acknowledge that and start to enjoy the process of the journey, you're going to be so much more successful and actually be able to maintain it long term. So now you might be thinking, okay, I might be a little bit fixed mindset. That's not what I wanted to hear, but okay, you're right. You caught me. That now you can know that it was your body that started betraying you first, or not your negative mindset. But it's like, how do you know where that starts from? So did it happen after the body stopped working and then you became negative, or did you become negative and then your body stopped working, or however you want to kind of word that? I'm not saying your body isn't working, but you know what I mean. So again, all of this is hormone related too. So the opposite way could have happened, right? That you feel like you had a positive mindset and then your body started letting you down and then you became more negative and then it clouded kind of the world around you and the way you viewed things. And that's okay. And then, you are also dealing with medical professionals who may not contribute to your happiness. They might have just brushed away your concerns and be like, oh, this is a normal part of aging. Oh, this is how menopause is. You just got to ride it out. Nope, it can't be that. No, I don't want to test your hormones. That seems like a waste of time. Nope, it's not worth my time to do this. And not validating what you're feeling. So that can make it tough too. It's really hard if you don't feel like someone's in your corner. So hormonal imbalances can affect our brain function in numerous ways. So for example, hypothyroidism decreases brain activity as a whole. Chronic stress, so cortisol and DHEA abnormalities produce more white matter and fewer neurons, whereas like gray matter and positive thinking and dopamine go together. Estrogen imbalances, they'll negatively impact activity in the hippocampus, which is responsible for your mood and memory. So if you have low estrogen levels, you're typically going to have more issues regulating your mood, and you're also going to have worse memory. And progesterone issues can affect production of a neurotransmitter called GABA, G-A-B-A, and that's a hormone that helps us relax and help us feel at ease and sleep well. So when progesterone, when we have enough of it, we typically feel more grounded, we feel more calm, it's easier to sleep. So if you're struggling with those things, it can be because of progesterone and how that affects the production of GABA in our brain. So let's talk about cortisol, because I love me some cortisol. I don't love cortisol for myself. It's already something I deal with, but I love talking about cortisol. So when cortisol levels get stuck on high, it's going to cause a spike in blood sugar and your insulin levels. We know this because everyone's scared to have carbs. So they think their blood sugar is going to be brutal. But we know that when cortisol is high, it's going to send a signal to our body that we need to fight the bear or run away from the bear, which means we need energy. So your body is going to release glucose, sugar, into our bloodstream to help us fight the bear, run away from the bear. However, most of us are stressed out and we're not actually running away from a bear or fighting a bear. We're just sitting at our desks. We're scrolling. We're just upset with our boss, or we're not sleeping well, or whatever it may be. So then we're going to see that spike in insulin to help compensate for that. So this is going to lead to some detrimental changes in your brain, including the drop of the calming neurotransmitter serotonin, which leads to a range of physiological issues just based on that alone. So that's something to be aware of. Ultimately, our high levels of cortisol increase the likelihood of developing lasting psychiatric conditions like anxiety, depression, PTSD. In the brain, chronic stress produces more white matter and fewer neurons, gray matter, than normal, which skews their balances and interferes with communication in the brain, which can lead to things like brain fog and memory issues. And we want to have lots of neurons because that's what sends the signals to everywhere that it needs to go. So the fewer things that we have, the fewer neurons that we have, things just don't work as properly. Do not work as properly. Sorry. Stumble over my words there. And then high cortisol will also lead to the following imbalances in our hormones, which I know you've heard me talk about before, but we're going to list them off again here for you. So when estrogen levels are healthy and they're balanced, it helps optimize the neurotransmitter production and brain function so that you feel good all month long. When estrogen levels are out of balance, it starts to cause problems. So too much estrogen in relation to progesterone can lead to estrogen dominance. So it's the ratio of estrogen to progesterone. So when you have estrogen dominance, it's not always because there's too much estrogen being produced. It can be that we don't have enough progesterone compared to estrogen, or our body just isn't good at getting rid of estrogen. It can be one of those three options. So when we have that imbalance of estrogen to progesterone, it can cause gentle monthly hormonal rises and falls, even during perimenopause. And that can turn into a series of intense spikes and dramatic drop-offs, kind of like a crazy roller coaster. And that can disrupt important brain processes and make you more anxious and make you more irritable. If we have too little estrogen, that can lead to feeling depressed and confused. So the loss of estrogen also hinders critical thinking, short-term memory, and other cognitive functions. So these problems can worsen during perimenopause and menopause, when estrogen levels can fluctuate quite a bit, or it really starts to drop. And then it ends up staying low after menopause. So when progesterone is in balance with estrogen, it calms you. It brings you feelings of peacefulness and it promotes sleep. You're just in a good, happy mood when you have enough of it. But when they're imbalanced, or when the relaxation hormone starts to drop too dramatically, calmness can really give way to some irritability, anxiety, depression, sleepless nights, tossing and turning, and brain fog. And for some women, when progesterone and estrogen plummet right before menstruation starts, mood stability goes out the window. So this is what we see when stress affects the body's ability to gently drop off estrogen and progesterone that we see in perimenopause and menopause. So if you're stressed out, instead of having this nice slow fall, it is these crazy drops and spikes that leave you feeling absolutely insane, that like make you want to smother your partner with a pillow. You can blame your hormones a little bit on that one. Testosterone helps protect the nervous system as well. So testosterone also will get affected. And it wards off depression. Testosterone is great for helping with like cognitive impairment and being preventive against Alzheimer's disease. Testosterone is supposed to, so this is supposed to happen, doesn't usually happen because we're too stressed out, but it naturally increases in perimenopause and menopause. And this helps to make up for the lack of estrogen and progesterone as that goes down. But a dysregulated stress response can leave some women with low testosterone levels that have been shown to increase symptoms of anxiety and depression, as well as a host of other issues like low libido, low energy, and like joint soreness, for example. So here's the problem too when it comes to the chicken or the egg scenario. Did hormones start this and then I became negative thinking, or is it negative thinking made my hormones go off the charts? So the only thing that we can control here is what we can control. And this is really, really important. So no matter what caused the problem, the important thing for us is to figure out a way to stop the cycle. And we can't change necessarily exactly what's going on with our hormones. However, shifting your mindset can be controlled, and it's incredibly important. So the more positive our mindset is, the more we'll be able to regulate our brains and our thoughts, and over time, the more stable that our hormones will become, which sounds like a win to me. You're happier and you have stable hormones. Awesome. So how can you shift from that fixed mindset and that negative mindset to a positive mindset or a growth mindset to really help your hormonal balance? So every thought is a choice, but choosing better thoughts is going to take a heck of a lot of practice, because I don't know about you, but sometimes someone will say something and my first response is, if it was appropriate, I'd like to punch you in the face. But I think about it and I'm like, you know what? Probably not the best idea. So the same thing we can do with our thoughts. It's going to take some practice. Not saying that I walked around punching people in the face all the time. That was a terrible example, but it is what it is. So it's going to take practice, especially when you feel like the world has beat you up countless times. You feel like your body is working against you. It can be really hard to switch this. So how do we start working towards a better mindset? We want to start shifting our fixed mindsets to more growth mindset. while you're going through this entire process. And it can take super long, it can take a long time, but it's really important for your hormone regulation. So we want to start opening your mind to new education, taking on new challenges, and like exploring those and learning from your mistakes and your failures. We want you to enjoy and learn from every single part of the process. So it's important to note that someone with a growth mindset is not solely indicated by their effort to work through things or to hone in skills. It's mainly indicated by their belief that their opportunity for success is limitless. So you can create your own future. And I don't know about you guys, but that sounds super freaking empowering. So ask yourself, do you feel like your success is limitless? Honestly, do you think that you could achieve anything? Do you believe that you can balance your hormones? And do you believe that you can adjust your mindset from a more fixed mindset to a more growth mindset? If you do or you don't, why? Where is that coming from? What is really holding you back from believing in yourself? Transitioning to that mindset will take time. It's going to be challenging and it's going to be uncomfortable. But we want you to have a growth mindset because it's going to be a long-term thing for you that's ultimately going to lead to your success and maintaining those results. You want to start using every day as an opportunity to improve your skills, to practice them, to develop better habits, and enjoy every step of the journey and every step of the process. Setbacks and failures are inevitable. They are going to happen. But what you do moving forward in reaction to them is what's going to determine your overall success. And you do have control over your reactions. Using setbacks as an opportunity to learn and to grow as opposed to letting them hold you back or quit is essentially how you reframe this and keep moving forward. It's a way to fail forward, is what I like to call it. You're failing, but you're still moving in the right direction. You're learning from it and you're still moving forward, as opposed to failing backwards where you fail and you just revert back to your old ways. No, you fail forward by learning from those mistakes. And just because you failed doesn't make you a failure. It just means that you stumbled along the way. And that's going to happen. No one's ever climbed a huge mountain and not scraped their knee or had a little slip up or a little stumble. It happens and that's okay, but you keep on going. So we always want to get from point A to point Z as quickly as possible and skipping all the letters in between, but that's not going to lead you to success long-term. And it's not going to be the way that you get good at something. Think of this as an opportunity to become an expert, to really foster these things, to develop these skills. Then you can help people around you who are struggling. That's the best part. That's exciting. And yes, it can be tough to sometimes go against things that you may have been told, okay, I somehow need to eat more first. That doesn't make sense. But again, these kinds of things and really trying to understand how it's going to help your body. What does that process look like? How does it actually affect your body? Because we're all doing these fad diets and doing all these things. And then we're upset because they're not working. But did you ever really sit and understand why you were doing those things? What they're doing to your body? Long term, what's going to happen after you're done that thing that you're doing? How are you going to maintain things? What does life look like after that? That's why things haven't worked in the past. So that's another way to reframe things to become more positive. And again, to help your brain work in favor of these hormonal imbalances is to actually work at understanding things, understanding that your past failures don't define you and that you can move forward. You get to rewrite what those failures mean. You can let them define you, but ultimately you get to decide what those events meant to you and how you learn to move forward from them. And that's super empowering as well. So I challenge you to think about some of the mindset things and some of the beliefs that you have that you think could be holding you back. What's stopping you from being successful really? And are they things in your control? Because realistically, there's so many things that you can control. Just take responsibility from them and move forward. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you change these things. Are there things that you can identify that are contributing to higher stresses and contributing to those hormonal imbalances? Can you get rid of those stressors? Not always. So learning how to eat and recover properly and exercise appropriately to mitigate that stress response is going to be really important for you. So how can you start reframing your thoughts to use a more positive mindset and empower yourself to really help your brain deal with these hormonal imbalances and really bring those hormones into harmony. I hope you guys found this helpful. I always find it super interesting, like all the research on how your hormones in your brain and your gut and everything are super related. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you feel like you need some help moving in the right direction or someone to help calculate your calories for you, just send us a message. We're always happy to do that for free. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.